Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, well, yeah, I wish I was really there.
Yeah. Next year.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah. So I just want to say hi to everybody. Thanks so much for coming out. My name is Olivia Norquist. I'm the programming coordinator at Cinematheque. Welcome to day 3 of the Give Me Some Truth Documentary Film Festival. I'd like to acknowledge that the Cinematheque resides on Treaty 1 territory, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and is the homeland of the Métis Nation. Mic issues. I'm here today with Penelope Spheeris, the incredible director of The Decline of Western Civilization, an amazing 3-part documentary series that recently celebrated its 40th anniversary. The first film captured the chaos of LA's early punk scene and was initially banned from playing anywhere by the LAPD and is now in the Library of Congress. It led to 2 sequels covering the hair metal excess of the 1980s and the gutter punk desperation of the 90s. Collectively, the trilogy spans several generations of LA's underground and remains an essential historical touchstone. So thank you so much for joining us today, Penelope.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Olivia.
Yeah. So I guess my first question, what is it like to look back on this project?
I'm shocked that people are actually still interested in watching it after 40 some years, and thrilled about it. And yeah, like you said, it was in the National Film Registry here in the United States now. Pretty amazing, since when I first did it, I couldn't even get a theater. And it was like banned in Los Angeles here. Like the chief of police said, you know, if you show this movie here again, I'm going to get arrested or something. So of course I showed it again. Yeah.
Yeah, so as you just mentioned, like dealing with the LAPD and now sort of like being in the Library of Congress, what is it like to see the reception change over the years of all the films?
Oh, it's very gratifying, you know, honestly, and I'm so appreciative of the fans that love it. And I was lucky because I documented this movement, this punk movement in Los Angeles at a time when people, you know, not everybody had an iPhone and not everybody had a camera. So I was lucky to document it for future generations. And my guess is you probably have a lot of kids in your audience that were, you know, born around the time I made the movie. And for those young people to want to see it is really the most amazing thing for me as a filmmaker, you know.
That's so rad. Did you know at the time that you're making the first film that you were capturing something important?
I knew I was capturing something important in 1979 when I started shooting The Decline of Western Civilization. But the thing I didn't know was the kind of lasting power that it's had. Yeah, I never imagined, you know, that I would ever get this old. And I never imagined that people would still be interested in watching the movie. You know, it's the same thing with Wayne's World that I directed. It's like, people still love to watch Wayne's World. And I don't know what it is about them, but I sure am happy about it, you know?
Yeah. And did you always envision this project to be a trilogy?
No, when I made the first Decline, I just thought, well, I'll make this movie and then that'll be it. And, you know, they told me, well, we don't really want to book documentaries into theaters. Back then, they didn't do that. It released in 1980. And they said, if you want to have a movie about punk rock, don't make it a documentary. So that's when I wrote Suburbia, which some of your audience members might know that movie as well. And I wrote Suburbia so I could actually get theaters, you know, and then that didn't get a release either. But that one also has a really long life, you know. I mean, people still know that movie, like Flea from the Chili Peppers. He's a friend of mine, and he calls it the punk rock Bible. He says wherever he goes in the world, Suburbia. All the punks know Suburbia, and he says it's the Bible of punk rock. So there you go.
So you mentioned that Suburbia didn't have a release. Was it a similar story to the first Decline movie? Like, was it initially banned or?
Well, it wasn't banned, Olivia, but it was not understood, just like when the punk movement started in Los Angeles here and probably around the world, people were afraid of it. I mean, they really were. It was like, oh my God, these kids have gone nuts. They're going to kill us all, and that was the perception. And so when I did Suburbia, it was 1983. They still, the general public didn't understand punk rock, and so the film didn't get much of a release, but it's had a heck of a long lifespan. It's still being shown everywhere today, so yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
The only movie that I did really well, I did Wayne's World. That got a big release, okay, because and Little Rascals got a good release, and Black Sheep. But most of my films didn't get any kind of a release, but they hang around for a long time, so that's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and they'll be around after I'm dead, which may not be too long at this rate. Anyway.
So what drew you to these subcultures that are featured in the trilogy?
What did you say?
Oh, sorry. What drew you to these subcultures? So the LA.
Oh, what drew me to them?
Yeah.
I think what drew me to the subcultures, well, especially punk, not metal so much, because I did the Metal Years movie, but for the punk rock movies, I think it was my upbringing, because I was raised in total chaos. I was raised in a mosh pit, okay? Like, that's the way our family was. And, it was a mom with, we had 7 different stepfathers, and I had 3 siblings, and it was just total chaos. So when I found that punk was coming around here in LA, I'm like, oh man, total chaos. I'm down with that, because that's what I know. And I think that's what drew me to it. That, not trying to understand just human behavior in general, and because I studied art in college to start with, and then I studied psychobiology, which is the study of human behavior, and so I just want to understand why people do what they do, Yeah,
that's so interesting. So you mentioned that you were kind of drawn to the punk scene, and then so how did you get involved with the metal scene in the Metal Years documentary?
Drugs. No, I'm just kidding. No, that was a crazy time, That was a crazy time. I got involved because when I was driving down Sunset Boulevard one night, the kids on the strip were like spilling out into the street, and they all, because everybody had like, shaved heads or really, really short hair, and had this certain punk look, but then all of a sudden that, metal / glam look came in, and I'm like, what's going on here? And I started going to those shows, and I just, I like documenting the subcultures, and so I documented that one. Yeah.
Cool. And then for the gutter punk documentary, how did you get involved with?
I got involved in the Decline 3 because I had a really, really bad experience working with the Weinsteins on a movie called Senseless with Marlon Wayans and David Spade. And the Weinsteins were miserable to work with, as you may have heard. And I mean, they never, I was too old for them. It was just it was mental torture, So I had made all kinds of money doing those studio movies. And I thought, well, I think I'm just gonna make another documentary, because I saw there was a kind of surge in the interest in punk rock back then. 97 it was. And so I paid for the movie myself, and I got to know all these homeless gutter punks, and they sort of became my family. And that guy that was helping us right here has been my boyfriend for 25 years. And I met him because he was a gutter punk in Decline 3, and he's, really, really smart and really amazing person. And so are all my punk friends, and all my Hollywood friends I can count on my hand. Actually, there's only one. No, just kidding. There's only maybe one or two. I don't know, but I'm not interested in Hollywood anymore. I think it sucks.
Yeah. That must have been kind of liberating to be able to pay for your own film on your own, especially considering your experience with the Hollywood films.
Well, I mean, I had all kinds of scripts that I had written that I wanted to direct. And after I did Wayne's World, and none of those were comedies, they were more like movies like Suburbia. And after I did Wayne's World, I couldn't get any financing for my own scripts because they weren't like goofy comedies, So the studios offered me like stupid amounts of money to direct like the Beverly Hillbillies movie, It's like, I don't want to do the Beverly Hillbillies movie, but I will take the $2.5 million. Thank you very much. So, it was, I don't know, it was a time when I was disappointed, and I used to go on all these interviews where I would try and do movies that are really, really popular and well known today, and I could never get the gig, and they wouldn't do my script. So I just said, fuck it, I'm gonna pay for a documentary about gutter punks. Yeah, I showed them.
Yeah. So what most surprised you while filming and working on this project?
On which movie?
I guess, I'm kind of think all of them.
What surprised me?
Yeah, or if anything surprised you on them.
Yeah, I mean, every day of shooting is a surprise, I mean, when I was shooting them, I felt like I was learning about these people and about human behavior in general, and also learning about myself and trying to define my own values, and oh my gosh, my cat's going cuckoo. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Yeah. I have a cat that growls. Louie, I'm so sorry. This cat's
That's okay.
Yeah, the cat's
yeah.
Who has a cat like that, for Christ's sake? Anyway, yeah. So it was always surprises, and when my boyfriend was sitting on the sidewalk all dirty and street grime from being homeless, and there's Louis, freak. That was a surprise. When I looked in his eyes, I'm like, wait a minute, some connection going on here. Oh, wait a minute. I think I feel I'm in love. And I'm like, I'm in love with a homeless person. And then I'm with him for 25 years. That was kind of surprising,
Yeah.
Kitty, Louie, come here, you psycho. Anyway.
One interesting aspect that I find in the first film, and actually in all of them, is how you able to capture these very intimate moments with the sort of concert footage and everything like that. Was that always your intention, to balance these kind of intimate, domestic, private moments with footage of a concert and a show and the mosh?
Well, I just like the idea, as a director and an editor, because I sit there and just sit there for every single cut. My editors, they say, what do I, a button pusher? And I go, yeah, sorry, but I just like to break it up. I don't like just talking heads like I am right now, but but I just like to break it up, and I like it to be startling, and the whole editing style of The Decline, I don't think that was really the first Decline. I don't really think that really had happened before I did that movie. MTV was born, or I think around 83, so that's later. And they took a lot of the editing style from The Decline, which I don't care, what are we going to do, copyright and editing style, so it's what they call homage.
Oh yes, of course.
Homage.
Yeah.
They were honoring me by copying my editing style.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just open it up to the audience. If we have any audience questions, please shout them out.
Do you have any audience? How about that?
Yeah, oh yeah, there's quite a few people here. Yeah.
How many people came?
I can flip it around.
3.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, look, there you are.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. Hi, you guys. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for coming out. Oh, I'm so happy she showed me you. I would have been nervous if I knew there were that many people there. Oh my goodness, look at that handsome man with the white beard. Oh. All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming out, you guys.
Yeah, I can flip it back. Yeah, do we have any audience questions?
What'd you say?
Oh,
that was a lot of questions. I'm just curious if you're going to work on another film kind of similar to the other ones. What is punk now to you? Kind of thing.
What'd you say?
Oh, they asked, what are you working on now? Are you still interested in punk? And what does punk mean to you now?
Well, I'll start with the punk questions. Okay. For me, I've sort of come to the conclusion here that I was born a punk and lived my life as a punk and will always be a punk and will die a punk. That's the way I feel about punk rock, true punk rock. I'm not talking about these fashion freaks, okay? Because I can spot them, I can spot like if somebody is the real deal, okay? And they understand it's not just a look, but it's a set of standards, and it's a set of principles, and it involves a lot of integrity and a lot of being a good person, And so for me, punk rock means everything. And as far as what I'm working on now, I'm not supposed to tell anyone, but since there's so many nice people there, I want to say that I've been working on a book with a writer in New York. He works at the Times and also RogerEbert.com. His name is Simon Abrams. He called me up a couple of years ago and said, Penelope, how would you like it if we wrote a book about your Hollywood career? And so we've been working on it for 2 years. And I'm kind of hoping I die before it comes out, because honestly, I said so many things about people that were the truth to me. And, I don't know. I mean, Hollywood sucks shit as far as I'm concerned. And so I let that be known in the book. Can I swear? It's a little late to ask.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, good. Anyway, so yeah, I'm working on that book. I've got a movie about a documentary over there in that computer over there, about my mom running away with a carnival when she was 19. She was a kick-ass woman, I mean, I think I learned a lot of my licks from her. I mean, she was also like a brazen drunk that beat the shit out of me. But other than that, she was pretty cool, and made me love being a rebel. And I think she was actually born a punk as well. So yeah, so that's what I'm working on now, the book and the movie, and paying for it myself, and then what I do is I build houses now I build houses, and I'm really good at it. I don't know why. It's like making a movie. You got a whole bunch of dudes and you tell them do this and that, kind of, and then you rent them and rent the houses and collect the rent money, and fix a lot of toilets and paint a lot of vacant apartments and shit like that.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
what are you doing?
Yeah. we're having a documentary festival. We're
I
showing
will
you-
say this. I want to say this though, please. I shot a movie in Winnipeg. Okay. I shot a movie called Enron, The Crooked E, and it was a TV movie. And I think this must have been in the early 2000s or something, whenever Enron went down. And it was a lovely, lovely time for me because everybody there in your city was so welcoming and so warm. But one thing I did notice is that all the women in Winnipeg are gorgeous. And you're a good example of that. You're welcome. And I just want to say that's my memory of Winnipeg. So
Aw,
there you
that's
go.
nice. That's not a bad
Yeah,
memory.
beautiful women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other audience questions? Oh yeah, go ahead.
How do you couple the integrity of punk rock with being a landlord and building houses?
What do you say? What that fucker say?
Yeah.
I couldn't hear the question, honey.
How do you balance punk ideals with being a landlord?
Oh, well, I'm very kind and generous to my tenants. And it's funny, the other day, one of my tenants, who's actually German, said, I didn't want to tell you, Penelope, but I was a punk. And I'm like, cool. No wonder I liked you and rented to you. I must have felt it. You know what I mean? But I don't think there should be any contradiction there. It's being a punk doesn't mean you're not allowed to make money. I mean, Flea from the Chili Peppers, that I met when he was 19. I just read today he's almost 60. Woo! That's how long I've known Flea. He makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
But he doesn't describe himself as a punk. I don't know what he describes himself as, but anyway, it's okay if somebody makes money and they still believe in a punk rock ethic. I believe, it's okay. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of it. You want some?
Yeah. Cool. Any other questions or anything about the movies?
Everybody's afraid of me now.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I guess we could wrap it up. Thank you so much, Penelope. This is so great.
Well, thank you guys. I really hope you enjoy the movies, and hopefully I can come up there and see y'all next time. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be so great. Thank you so much. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you.